Baseball night in America from the great Midwest of this country. Milwaukee, Wisconsin is the site. American Family Field for game number 2 of this key 3-game September opening series between a couple of playoff teams that could end up meeting in the playoffs, perhaps. It's the Philadelphia Phillies and the homestanding Milwaukee Brewers in the second of this set this weekend. Of course, the Brewers, over the last month, have been in first place by their lonesome in the National League Central. They come in tonight with a 3.5-game lead on the surging Cubs, who will face the Cincinnati Reds tonight. Meanwhile, the Phillies are ahead of the Cubs as well, as they currently occupy the top wild card spot in the National League postseason chase. The month of August was an excellent one for the Philadelphia Phillies. 17 victories and their offense exploded. Finally, 59 home runs, a historically good power month, and their two superstars, Trey Turner and Bryce Harper, were absolutely fantastic. They hope to carry that over now. Adam Amin, John Smoltz, the Hall of Famer. Ken Rosenthal is with us tonight as well. So we talked about the offense for the Philadelphia Phillies. Now it's up to the pitching staff to step up. We saw Zach Wheeler last night pitch well. Aaron Nola trying to continue what he's been doing.
Well, Philadelphia is scary in so many ways. You talked about the offense. They're getting their bullpen in order. I think the front end of the rotation is super important. Wheeler went last night. Nola is starting to click. His last 2 starts have been outstanding. He's only given up a total of 2 earned runs. He posts and makes every start. He throws a lot of innings. And for the Philadelphia Phillies coming off of last year, nobody's going to want to play this team if they get in the postseason, and mainly because of their front end of their rotation.
He had a victory over Milwaukee back in July. Meanwhile, the Brewers also won 17 games in the month of August to stay in first place. Their offense has found some new life, and it feels like when Willy Adames is making an impact, this team wins games.
You couldn't find 2 polar opposite offenses. This offense has to be very timely and have some big hits and play great defense and pitch. Well, when they get hits out of this young man, they do very well. Look at the difference in the wins versus the losses. If he puts it in play, if he gets a homer, he drives in a run. Basically, the Milwaukee Brewers win.
And what do you know? He hit a home run last night. It was all part of a wild 7-5 Brewers victory in the opener of this 3-game set. Game 2 is coming your way next. Just 28 games remain until the postseason, and these 2 teams would currently be in it right now. It's the Brewers and the Phillies. Baseball night in America coming up next. Philadelphia Phillies, and was going through what felt like a season-long slump until some folks in the Philadelphia area decided, hey, let's give this guy some support, some love. And on August the 4th, he got a standing ovation despite his struggles. And ever since, Trey Turner has been on fire. From standing ovation to standing by with Ken Rosenthal.
Thanks, Adam. Trey, you had a fantastic WBC playing for your country. What was it like in August having an entire city behind you?
Yeah, that was big. They picked me up and played a lot better and helped the team out quite a bit, and hopefully we can keep that rolling.
You were teammates with Bryce Harper in Washington. His performance in August, what was that compared to the player you saw then?
Yeah, it reminded me of 2015 when he won his first MVP. A lot of extra base hits and a lot of just good at-bats.
Trey, thanks. Good luck tonight.
Kenny, he'll bat second for this Phillies lineup that's 9th in the major leagues in runs per game at just a shade under 5. They've scored 53 runs in their last 7 games. We talked about how big Schwarber and Turner and Harper and Castellanos all were in the month of August. They continue to be key if this team wants to win games. Colin Ray is on the bump. He gets the call-up tonight for the injured Adrian Hauser. 20th start, a career high for Ray.
Yeah, he's done a nice job filling in. Maybe statistically not the best year, but he has really helped this Milwaukee Brewers stay afloat when they lost all those injuries. And there's the breakdown in Colin Ray. And here's the theme for tonight. First pitch. There's a lot of first pitch swinging on the Philadelphia Phillies, and his first pitch success is going to have to be and will be the most important factor, I think, on a guy that doesn't overpower you, uses his cutter, and mixes all those pitches up.
Well, watch out, first pitch for Schwarber, who hit a home run in the first inning to lead off the game last night. And he'll take a strike to start the evening. We're underway at 6:16 local time with the roof open at American Family Field. 8th leadoff home run of the season last night. Only Mookie Betts has hit more with 11. The average is under 190, but over 100 walks and 38 home runs.
Yeah, I'm still mesmerized by the 189, and obviously leading off, that's not what you would think would be a leadoff hitter. But he has been so good in that spot for the power numbers and the walks that the Philadelphia Phillies leave him there. He just hasn't been very good in pitchers counts, meaning pitchers ahead. When he's got these counts, he's a much more dangerous hitter.
The 2-1. And Schwarber lifts one to deep center field, sending Sal Frelick all the way back to the track. It's gone, and Kyle Schwarber has done it again. Back-to-back games with a leadoff home run, and the Phillies strike first on a second consecutive night.
Well, it's just amazing. No sooner did he talk about a hitter's count and what he's able to do. He sat, got one over the middle of the plate, wasn't aggressive on the first pitch, waited it out. And this is what makes the Philadelphia Phillies a dangerous team. Their power is through the roof. They've got speed, but there's that cutter that comes back over the middle of the plate. He knew it, and I'm pretty sure Ray knew it when he delivered the pitch.
And now Trey Turner smacks a single into center field. A season high, now 13-game hit streak for Trey Turner to back up Kyle Schwarber's solo shot here in the first.
Well, good news, bad news for the pitcher. You could get a lot of quick outs if you make pitches, but you could find yourself in a big inning in a lot of trouble, because a lot of these guys in the Phillies lineup, including this monster at the plate, swings about 50% of the time at the first pitch. So right away we've got action for the Philadelphia Phillies coming off a really tough loss last night against the Brewers.
Phillies have lost each of their last 2 games to the Angels 3 nights ago, and then last night to Milwaukee after taking late leads on big homers. They did it against the Angels on a Bryce Harper home run, which happened to be his 300th career home run. But the bullpen, Craig Kimbrell, would blow the game. And then last night, Turner, who hit a home run to give him the lead before the Phillies lost it in the bottom of the 8th. He takes off and steals bag number 24. It's been a problem for Contreras behind the plate this year.
Well, a lot of the stolen bases this year with the new rules are going to come on the pitcher, and this, I think Turner will eventually eclipse 50 stolen bases easily next year. He started off rough, and I also think Turner may bat leadoff next year despite the success of Schwarber in the first spot. I just think with the game and the philosophy changing, you've got to put some pressure at the top of your lineup from the speed standpoint on the opposing pitcher.
Harper with a big cut, and from down 2-0, Ray brings it back to 2-2. I'll be fascinated to see what a player like Aaron Judge's role is as you start to get a little bit more balls in play. Maybe move him back down to more of a traditional middle of the order guy. Turner at second, and a 2-2 pitch is off the fist and popped up. Carlos Santana, the one-time Philadelphia Philly, is there, and there's the first out of the first. Kyle Schwarber doing it last night, doing it tonight.
Yeah, he got pitches over the middle of the plate. This one he pulled, When he hits them, they're pretty much no doubters. And tonight he got one over the middle of the plate and hit it to straightaway center. Philadelphia Phillies, you already talked about how many home runs they've hit in August. They look to continue that in September.
1 on 1 out for Nick Castellanos, who had a great month of August as well. Schwarber hit a 422-foot home run last night. That one was 424 feet to center.
Almost a guaranteed. This man steps in the box waiting to swing.
One of the freest swingers in the game, but he'll take a strike.
So those are two guys that have just absolutely come out of their shoes first pitch and taken it. It worked out well for Schwarber. See how Castellanos does.
You have 22 home runs this season. There's the big cut, and it's 0-2. It has been a problem for Colin Ray, who's pitched just a shade under 101 innings and has given up 20 home runs.
Well, the whole staff for
the
Brewers, about 50% of the runs they give up are home runs, and you can understand that here, especially. This is a hitter's ballpark. Ball flies, roof's open.
Yep. It's the highest rate in baseball for any staff. Turner takes off for third, strike him out, throw down to third, safe. Monasterio's tag was not there. The throw by Contreras a little late as Turner has lifted a pair of bags here in this first inning.
Well, I mentioned Colin does not overpower you with fastballs velocity, but he gets a lot of strikeouts with his fastball. And we're going to look at the tag as the ball skips in and just beats the tag down. The guy at the plate right now for me, him and Marsh have single-handedly changed the Phillies lineup. They were kind of overmatched last year via the fastball, and they have really made an adjustment.
Bryson Stott takes a strike. He and Marsh have been so good at using the other field as left-handed hitters. That has really opened things up for this lineup in the bottom half of the order.
You're talking about two of these guys batting in the bottom of the order last year. And now Stott's improvement has moved him up, and he's a weapon both defensively and offensively. You see the 50 opposite field hits this season really speaks to his adjustment to the fastball, that he was kind of overmatched when he got called up.
Big cut on a high fastball, 1-2, and a chance to limit the damage for Colin Ray in this key first inning. Turner waits at third for a 1-2, and Stott goes the other way but flips it towards the gap. It will be Frelick to make the catch. Ray indeed limits the damage to just one big Kyle Schwarber blast, his 39th of the season, and a 1-0 Phillies lead for Aaron Nola. is 30 years of age from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. So much key postseason experience last year in the Phillies NL pennant run, and his last 2 starts have been great. He has a win against the Brewers this year. He's already got a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, the theme for tonight's going to be his curveball, because that's been a lot better his last couple of games. He's a command pitcher with can mix his stuff and change all the areas that you need to get a hitter out. Here's the pitches he relies on. You're rarely going to see a curveball leading the way, but curveball along with that 4-seamer and sinker combined are actually more. But that curveball is a weapon, and it's going to be a weapon because a lot of the Brewers hitters struggle against curveball.
There's Christian Yelich to lead things off. He takes a strike. Big reason why Milwaukee's offense finally got going a little bit the last couple of weeks has been Christian Yelich, and frankly the reason that the Brewers have had much offense at all when they've had it this season have been Yelich and Contreras at the top of this order. Backdoor breaking ball there from Nola,
Well,
0-2.
And that's what he does. He can change both sides of the plate, and he can bounce one in the back foot to a left-hander. And now Christian Yelich has to cover so much on 0-2. That makes it tough on anybody that's standing up against Nola when he's got that pitch going.
2-strike offering is fouled back. You saw Yelich after that second pitch look back at crew chief and home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt to ask where the call was. See the numbers against Aaron Nola for Yelich. Home with another 0-2. And a breaking ball is waved on. Foul tipped into the glove of Real Muto. Strikeout for Aaron Nola. This is the Brewers batting order, below league average at 4.4 runs per game, but as of late, especially at home, their offense has found some new life, and a lot of it has to do with the additions of guys like Carlos Santana, Mark Canha. The younger guys, especially at the bottom of this order, have been key at various points this year.
Well, Contreras has really picked it up offensively, killing the middle of the strike zone. The outs are up and down. You leave one over the middle of the plate, he's looking to do damage.
Swings the first pitch, tried to hold back, and according to Corey Blazer, he went around. Contreras on an 11-game hit streak. You see his numbers the last 2 months have been excellent. Leads this team in OPS right now. League averages just above 730. He's sitting at 816.
Well, what I like Nola's doing against a guy who is really crushing the fastball lately and slugging against the fastball. What are the first 2 pitches he's thrown to him? Saying, I'm not afraid to throw you a fastball. Matter of fact, I'm going to dot him on the outside part of the plate.
There he goes, setting him up perfectly. Back-to-back strikeouts for Aaron Nola to start off the night.
In an era where we're so in love with strikeouts and pitchers missing bats, I think so many pitchers come in with everything they have right away. There's the pitch to Yelich after he's established a fastball, but you have to pitch off your fastball. There's no hitter that will swing at that pitch if the fastball before it is nowhere close to the strike zone. But because the sight line of a hitter sees that pitch on the strike zone side, they have to attack that pitch when it looks it's coming in the same lane.
Carlos Santana takes a strike. You saw Aaron Nola breaking a tie with Curt Schilling, now top 5 all time in Phillies franchise history in strikeouts. Pretty big gap between Carlton and the rest of the crew. Cole Hamels recently announced his retirement officially. Big cut.
Here's the other thing that Nola knows. The Milwaukee Brewers will take a starting pitcher's pitch count and throw it through the roof. They have the most patient team, and so if you can throw strikes early, you're going to have them eaten out of your hands, because that's what the Brewers try to do, is work the count, work the count. They don't swing early too often, and the next thing you know, you've knocked the starting pitcher or you've created a chaos for them. But if you pound strikes early against this team, you're going to have success.
Major league average is 3.9 pitches per plate appearance. You see the Brewers and the Cubs 2 and 1 respectively. Santana will take a close one low. 1-2 the count.
See, that's a great pitch, and getting him out in is going to be the desired formula. But now he can throw a curveball to go to the back foot, and he'll swing over the top of it. That's so close to being a called third strike. Now he can do whatever he wants, seeing that pitch in that lane if he wants to back it up. perfect.
Yep,
I mean, that's classic veteran pitching.
Yep.
That doesn't just become consumed with information and goes off the last pitch. Good job by Santana to foul it off, but that's the exact pitch I would have thrown after establishing a low fastball. And he could
so good.
He could back it right back up.
I was going to say, he can go back to it right now if he wants to. It's been his best strikeout pitch this year. Let's see, 1-2. Sure enough. Santana spoiling a couple of good ones.
So now after 2 in a row that he has made contact on, he hasn't bounced one yet. You can elevate a fastball up and in and see if he'll take the bait there and try to attack, because you've slowed him down. Now you can speed him up and see what they do here after 2 straight curveballs.
Nola to Santana, 1-2. There it is. Fastball, tried it inside, missed.
And he just missed. That's it. That was again, following along. If you're sitting at home wondering why certain veteran pitchers do what they do, it's they reading the swing and not just all about information.
2-2 pitch. This is low. The count runs full. Santana from down 0-2 has worked it full. He's on a 10-game hit streak. He's having one of the best stretches since he came over from Pittsburgh. Sal Frelick waits on deck, the 23-year-old.
Now, as good as touch as he's had with his breaking ball, I would go to a 3-2 breaking ball right here, even though he just threw a changeup.
Payoff pitch. Lifted foul.
He went away.
Fastball's been his second best put-away pitch behind the curve this year.
When he struggled early on, the fastball command was nowhere close to Aaron Nola expectation, and so when he's gotten reconnected mechanically with that fastball and got that extra life on it, it just makes that curveball that much better.
Pitch number 9 to Santana is fouled back and will keep on going. This is where you see pitch counts start to elevate. I thought both teams did a little bit of that last night against a couple of good strikeout guys in Freddie Peralta and Zach Wheeler.
Yeah, and I think that narrative, you got to be careful with it, because the way the bullpens are constructed, be careful what you wish for.
Sure.
Knock the starter out early and get to some heat in the bullpen.
Another payoff. A close pitch, an excellent plate appearance by Santana, who spoiled a handful of pitches to stay alive, and he works a 2-out walk. 10-pitch battle ends in a walk, and the first base runner for Milwaukee to set it up for the rookie Sal Frelick. Number 15 overall pick in 2021 out of Boston College. He's had a really nice stretch to start his major league career. Breaking ball to start. This is low. Back to the breaking ball. It's a called strike. Brewers 75-59, starting the night 3.5 up on the Cubs. Just had their 9-game win streak snapped by Chicago at Wrigley Field on Tuesday. They've won 10 of their last 13. They've been very good in tight games this year, which has been typical under Craig Counsell. They've been very good in the late month under Craig Counsell. Been one of the best teams in September and October since 2018. The winningest manager in Brewers history. 2-1. 2-2.
Getting that pitch right there. Again, we'll set up another low pitch that the hitter will feel like he can't take a chance and let a pitch go by at that height, because he thought it was a ball. The umpire called it a strike.
Frelick hasn't struck out a whole lot in his first handful of games in the big leagues. That's a good layoff by Frelick to run the count full at 23 years old. And again, small sample size. 20 strikeouts, 19 walks. Very solid eye for Frelick at a young age and in an early portion of his major league career. Santana will be off on this 3-2. Got him. That Nola curveball earned him all 3 strikeouts in the bottom of the first inning. A 1-0 Philadelphia lead to the second. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Applebee's. Help us crush childhood cancer. 2008 National League Division Series, the one playoff meeting between the Phillies and the Brewers, the Shane Victorino Grand Slam, the 4 homers in Game 4. Pat Burrell, so important with those 2 bombs, and Phillies would go on to win the 2008 World Series. Starting the second inning, Alec Boehm swings through. A tough finish to his night last night. A key 8th inning error allowing the 3 go-ahead runs for Milwaukee to score.
I don't think he wasn't trying to do something special tonight to overcome for that. But he's learned so many things in the last year and a half, as does this Philly team, and being able to come back after devastating losses this year.
Fouls went away. Back and forth game. The Phillies had scored 4 in the top of the 8th inning after a run had already come through. What seemingly was a routine play just slipped under the glove of Boehm, who was clearly just trying to grab it and go to third base.
Yeah, he sure was, and you can see the
takes called strike 3.
Pain on his face after that one shocked him and ultimately led to the loss for the Phillies. But I talked to, you know, and just in general, what they went through last year is this great 2-seam fastball catch the outside corner. They went through so much that serves them well, not as a guarantee for this year, but anything they go through will pale in comparison to what they did last year, and that serves a team well for experience.
JT Realmuto, high fly ball, well struck and well gone. JT Realmuto with his 150th career home run, and it was a moonshot at American Family Field.
Well, that's the 7th hitter already, and we've seen 3 aggressive swings on the first pitch, and that one resulted in a home run. And another cutter that catches the middle of the plate, and if a timing of Realmuto's foot gets down, boy, he can do it all. This is one of the most gifted catchers in baseball. Never takes a day off, seems like.
Strike 1 to Marsh. Just about every game he's back there catching, and he has been up and down offensively, but the power has been there. Now 16 homers this season for Realmuto. Already 2 solo jobs off of Colin Ray from those 2.
Well, see his feet, and then he gets it down perfectly, and the swing is timed, and that power and that lift went a long ways.
Close pitch, and Marsh takes it for ball one. You talked about that leg kick. The timing of that leg kick has been a huge key. When that timing is on, Rob Thompson said that that's when Real Muto can really connect. That's what it felt like on that swing. Marsh, a late defensive swing to stay alive at 1-2.
Well, you can see how simple Colin Ray throws a baseball, but let's watch the leg kick again and how it is such, you know, this is kind of like Turner-like. Not Trey Turner, but Justin Turner, who has the most infamous leg kick.
And Brandon Marsh the other way to left for Mark Canha. And he's got it for out number 2. I'm going to bring up the 9-hitter Jake Cave. Brewers pitching wise have been really solid all season long, but they've dealt with a lot of injuries. When they've been healthy, their rotation, you could argue, is as good as any in baseball. Freddie Peralta was excellent last night, striking out 10. Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns were both great this week against the Cubs, just got no run support, or didn't get enough run support. Ended up being a couple of losses, but this is a legit starting rotation, a playoff starting rotation for Milwaukee.
And why they would be most feared if they were to win their first series in what could be havoc for really good offensive teams, because we know that great pitching will take care of great hitting.
Popped up 1-2 on Cave.
And those injuries in April couldn't have come at a worse time, and it looked like for the longest time the Milwaukee Brewers were not going to be in this position.
Yep.
But again, Julio Teheran and Colin Ray did remarkably serviceable work keeping the rotation afloat.
They had injuries to Brandon Woodruff, Adrian Hauser, Eric Lauer earlier this season. They didn't really have the full strength of their rotation until recently. And even now, Hauser currently on the IL. That's why Ray is called back up for this start. Ray filled in nicely. You mentioned Julio Teheran. He's dealing with injury, but is currently getting ready for a rehab assignment. So he could be a key additional arm for this Milwaukee team down the stretch, too. For Ray, his first start at the big league level in a month. His 2-2 is waved on and missed. For strike 3, a couple of strikeouts on the fastball, but just as we saw in the first with Schwarber, Real Muto with a solo shot for Philadelphia. The home runs keep coming, and a 2-0 Phillies lead. Schwarber and Real Muto with homers to stake Aaron Nola to a 2-0 lead to the home half of the second, where the birthday boy Willy Adames leads it off and fouls one away. Birthday number 28 for Adames, who's been very good over the last couple of weeks while this Brewers offensive resurgence has taken place. He's been one of the best hitters all year for Milwaukee, especially with his power. Leads the team with 22 home runs, the second most for any National League shortstop.
Open ball.
1-1.
Obviously will swing and miss a lot. He's looking to hit for power. Interesting that he's not hitting the fastball this year. He's only hitting .214 on fastballs, which to me, that's hard to believe for a home run hitter.
Bouncing ball to the left side for Alec Bohm. A smooth play to retire Adames, one away.
You see Bohm plays really deep, and he was playing deep last night. And he waited for that big hop. Continues to keep getting better. I know I'm not a huge metrics fan of defensive predictions, and we asked his manager on what he's done defensively, and he said he has been really good for him.
Marcana, first pitch swinging. Schwarber turns around and sees it one hop the wall. Going to be a ground rule double that went over the yellow line. And Marcana extends his on-base streak to 14. He's started to heat it up over the last couple of weeks as well.
Well, that's a shock to Nola because Canna doesn't swing a lot at first pitches, and he just went up there with the game plan. I'm going to attack the first pitch, and topspin kept it from going out of the yard. And Canna, one of those work the count, control the strike zone, doesn't swing outside the strike zone. Kind of a surprise there, I would think, on first pitch. Double.
Bryce Turang, the rookie. Backdoor breaking ball from Nola, misses outside. Turang, number 21 pick in 2018, just one for his last 19. He is one of the faster guys in baseball, and he's turned into a very reliable second baseman for Milwaukee this year defensively.
Yeah, they've said the defense is so good that even his lack of hitting, let's just say at this point, it pales in comparison to his defensive importance. And as we said, Milwaukee has to play good defense. They got to defend, they've got to pitch, and they got to have timely hitting. They're not going to just slug the ball all over the place.
Breaking ball misses 2-1. So many young players. There's 3 rookies in the starting lineup tonight for Milwaukee. They've used 4 rookies at times in their starting lineup this season. Two-1. Strike. From a baseball family. That Brian in the Seattle Mariners organization back in the 1990s. Athletic family in general for Bryce, who takes a breaking ball and lifts it into left center field. Long run for Marsh. It'll get down for a base hit, and Cano will score to cut the lead in half. Nobody's covering first, so Turang can head back to the bag. He's been looking for hits. He finds one here to get Milwaukee on the board in the second.
Yeah, he took a high breaking ball and just hit it perfectly between the 2 fielders. Marsh gets on it quick. See how that breaking ball just popped out of Nola's hand, and he didn't hit it great, but he hit it in the right spot. And because Harper was trailing, that allowed the Turang to be super aggressive.
Andrew Monasterio to the plate. First pitch swinging into center. Marsh is there for it, and Turang back to first for the second out.
Sorry, not Harper, but Cave.
Sure.
In that play, that allowed Turang to get super aggressive to possibly go to second base. But he knew that there was no one that could be at first base to get him thrown out if he went too far.
Delivers to get Milwaukee on the board. 2 down for the 9-hitter Tyrone Taylor, who Was a late game substitution last night. Had a key walk with the bases loaded to drive in a run. And would score one of the 4 runs in that frame on that wild play towards third. Now he's dealt with an elbow issue most of this season. Playing in his 60th game.
That's outside.
Nola's been great the last couple of starts. Was great against Milwaukee in mid-July in the lone victory for the Phillies as the Brewers took 2 of 3 in Philadelphia. Taylor loads up and fouls it 1-1. And that's the Brewers in his career. Very good numbers for Nola as well. Long frame, gets that great extension to home plate. He's kept his walks very low, and his strikeouts have been excellent in comparison too. There goes Turang, the speedster. Real Muto challenged. Boy, Turang got an incredible jump. Real Muto is one of the best in the business behind the plate. That was an excellent jump by Turang.
Well, he walked him off, and what I mean by that is he got a late lead and kept his momentum going, and you see right there, that is already getting in the starting position, and a stolen base today, so unlike the last 3 years. Glad it's back in the game and puts pressure on pitchers that, especially teams that don't rely on the home runs, can now create speed.
18 steals for the rookie now. He's the tying run. Taylor waves through. It's 2-2.
That's how Arizona has surprised everybody this year and maintained a playoff possibility by using their speed, and they can wreck you on the bases.
Cincinnati's been a team that for a while was flirting with a playoff spot and still has an outside shot because of a lot of their speed. 2-2 pitch. Taylor lifts it to left. Schwarber on the move, and it's over his head. That will tie the game. On his way to second, Taylor, and the Brewers come right back to tie it at 2 apiece in the second. Bottom half of the order for Milwaukee with the speed and contact and aggressiveness. 3 hits and 2 runs.
Another breaking ball over the middle of the zone, and he did not miss it. Foot down and barrels this one up. Hit it so hard he hit it over Schwarber's head. And the Brewers staying stingy.
Now back to the top for Yelich with a man in scoring position. Strike one from Nola. Struck out on that curveball in the first inning. Nola got all 3 strikeouts in the first on the curve. Yelich has to back up. 1-1. Outside of those last 2 games in Chicago for Milwaukee this past week, their offense, most of it at home, but their offense has been excellent. For a team that has not been above average most of the year. Major league average is about 4.5, 4.6 per game. Brewers are at 4.4. They don't hit a ton of home runs compared to last year, but they're starting to generate now.
Well, they got the right guy on the mound because he gets about 7.1 runs per sport.
Ray's had some support this year, certainly.
Rather be lucky, right, in that category.
The 1-2 to Yelich is high.
Well, the one thing that Nola does, which is unique, he's got a long stride but a lower release, right? About 5 feet is release point, so he gets sometimes underneath those pitches, which flattens them out. But when he stays behind and on top of those pitches, he has the extra life.
Deuce is wild for Yelich, who fights one off to stay alive, and will do it again. Contreras on deck if Yelich can reach. 3 hits, a couple of them doubles in this inning, and 2 across for Milwaukee.
Ball in.
3-2.
Well, early on, it looked like it was going to be a K-fest. Strikeouts, the side in the first inning had that curveball working incredibly well, and he's hung a couple here in the second inning and has paid dearly for it.
Yelich the other way, past the diving Bohm. Here comes Taylor. Schwarber comes up throwing. Play at the plate, up the line. Brewers take the lead in the second. Yelich delivers. John, you talked to Craig Counsell about this. More ground balls, more using the opposite field for Christian Yelich to be bigger this season.
Yeah, you know, there was concern early on when the shift was allowed that Yelich hit too many balls on the ground. They wanted to drive the ball more, but he is really a really good hitter when he is making contact and going the other way. He takes a changeup, stays back, and doesn't try to do too much. And really taking advantage of Schwarber in left field so far. That throw, of course, off the line, and 2-out damage by the Milwaukee Brewers. They've been relentless here at home.
That's what Yelich has been doing, going the other way.
So here's Aaron Nola, what we were talking about when you get this extension with release point. When you get this kind of arm angle, all right, that's 5 feet from the ground. Okay, so that's what a hitter's looking at. But here's the thing that a hitter doesn't want to look at is long extension, perceived velocity being greater at 6'9". That means he's releasing the ball closer to home plate, even though it's a lower kind of release point. He gets on the hitter when he's right.
He struck out Contreras in the first. Contreras checks his swing, and it's ball 1. 23 pitch first inning, 23 pitches here in the second now for Nola. This is what the Brewers do. A couple of longer at bats. They've grinded it out and then have been aggressive when they've needed to be. But a combination that has worked the last few weeks.
Ball.
2-0.
And that's the pitch that Nola needs to set up everything else. He's got a low changeup that he can throw off of that. He can throw his breaking ball. Sometimes he's gotten that call in this game, but now a 2-0 count to a dangerous hitter. And already one of those pitching coach's nightmare 30-pitch innings looking to be evident.
Big cut. Five tosses in this frame alone.
You know what's interesting with the new style of baseball, right? The pitcher really doesn't get a chance to slow the game down. That's why the speed of the game has gone up. But the hitter can slow the game down with a timeout and process it a little differently. So when innings get away from pitchers, they don't have really the ability, if they don't make good enough pitches, they can extend the inning longer than they want to.
That's going to be the same in the postseason as well. 2-1-2 Contreras is swung on and missed. 2-2. Major League Baseball announced the other day that the pitch clock will not be extended for the postseason, which is probably the right move. You don't want to all of a sudden play under different
totally
conditions and rules when guys have worked so hard to adjust to these helpful rules. 3 across already for Milwaukee in the second. Nola's 2-2. Contreras spoils it.
The only thing that would concern me come playoff time, and it would be something that as a manager I'd be so strict on. Hey, no pitch clock violations from a hitter or a pitcher. Let's go. It's been all year and we still see them. They're not a ton during the game, but
sure,
you don't want any of that to impact the postseason game, so you got to be locked in when that comes into play.
2-2 again. Fouled away again. Kenny, what do you think?
The violations have gone down every single month. We're down to about 0.5 per game. And John, you're right. You don't want to see it affect the postseason game, but it seems that the players have adjusted.
It's been a pleasant surprise. I don't even know if it's that much of a surprise. A lot of the time that was being taken up was in between pitch adjustments. Bouncing ball left side to the shortstop Turner. Plants him, throws out Contreras. Bottom half of the Brewer order gets it done. Yelich tacks on another one. 3 across. Brewers lead to inning number 3. Thank you, sir. Suit up at MLBshop.com. You can check out the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, collectibles, and more. Gear up with your favorite team at MLBshop.com. Yelich with an RBI, 3 across from Milwaukee to stake Colin Ray to his first lead of the night. Kyle Schwarber gave Philadelphia the early lead, 4 pitches in with a solo home run.
Colin Ray's done a nice job mixing and matching, pitching to the top of the zone, getting a lot of swings and misses up there.
There's a called strike.
He'll run that 2-seamer in and throw his cutter off of it. And he's just going to kind of go after you. He's not flashy, but very simple mechanics. Throws a lot of fastballs.
Pitches it up there with a strike. He's got what a lot of guys are calling a sweeper or a slider, whatever you want to call it. Mix that in. He's got a curveball he uses a little bit. Once in a while, a splitter.
That's the ball.
Well, the one pitch that's really given Schwarber trouble is the breaking ball. And hitting under 150 on that. When you got your batting average under 190, you're going to struggle against something, and you're trying to sit on certain pitches, which he's done damage when he gets them.
2-2 delivery is waved on and missed. Went back to the fastball. His 4th strikeout, all on the heater so far.
Well, we talk about spin rate, and spin on the fastball right now is pretty good. So it allows the illusion of a pitch up to have more velocity to the hitter when it really doesn't. It's just a quicker pitch up in the zone because of the spin, and they miss the pitch anticipating where it would be.
That's the ball.
Turner with a first pitch single and a couple of stolen bases before being stranded at 3rd in the 1st inning.
That's why velocity can be overrated a little bit. When you have a guy throwing 99 getting hit out all over the ballpark, it means the fastball, it doesn't have hop to it. It has velocity. And the difference is, to a hitter, when it's late life and they don't see it, they can't square it up.
Ball 3.
3-0 on Turner.
And so even though information is great, we have a lot of it, we have a lot of technology, it's still the way the ball comes out of a pitcher's hand is unique to each pitcher.
Both of these pitchers are great examples of that. Again, 93 still very good, and you can touch 94 or so, but In an era where we're seeing so many starters be able to throw 96, 97, these guys have tried to do it with a little bit more of a mix. Back to 3-2 after being behind 3-0. First full count for Colin Ray tonight. Payoff to Turner is swung on, foul tip, strike 3. Works back all the way from down 3-0 to fan Turner. Back-to-back Ks to start the inning. All 5 Ks on the fastball.
Well, we talked about the power for the Philadelphia Phillies, but they can run into a lot of swing and miss. And if they cut that down, their offense is doubly tough. And this is a rare 3-0, 3-2 strikeout on a pitch way off the plate that looked like a strike coming out of his hand, but tied him up inside.
Turner retired, 2 away for Bryce Harper. On the ground, off the mound to Adames. And Colin Ray has retired the last 5 after the Real Muto home run. Brewers have the lead to the bottom of the 3rd. I get the feeling that at some point, these gentlemen have probably said, hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, guys. Thinking about the late Jimmy Buffett, who passed away yesterday. A little bit of Margaritaville on the way back here in Milwaukee, where Carlos Santana swings at the first pitch and lines out to his counterpart, Jake Cave. Aaron Nola gets the first out in much-needed quick fashion after Santana took 10 pitches to walk in the first.
And I thought that was a great approach by Santana, thinking, okay, I just worked 10 pitches. He's going to try to go strike 1, and I'm going to jump him. And that's what you have to do in this game. There's a push and pull, give and take, adjustment left and right. And that's what I miss most about the game is the pitcher and hitter cat and mouse game that goes on throughout the night.
You know, college football just got going today. We had a lot of fun games on Fox earlier, and I've talked to so many offensive coordinators or former offensive coordinators who become head coaches, and they always say that's what I miss, the chess match.
Yep.
And I would think you're in the same position as a former pitcher as Frelick bounces one to Stott for out number 2.
Well, and I know it's totally different, so you're showing everything now because the information says give them everything you have, and the next guy comes in and does. That's why you don't face hitters that many times on average. That's why starters innings have gone down. But in the postseason, guess what wins? starting pitching. It's never failed, and rarely do you see a team that mixes and matches and patches it together and wins a World Series because their offense is better than everybody else's.
Nola pitched twice early in the playoffs in series victories. He pitched twice in the World Series against Houston last year. Great experience for Nola and for this Phillies group that was seemingly in dreadful shape through the first couple of months of the season. And then Rob Thompson was hired to replace Joe Girardi. And since June the 3rd of last year, this has been one of the best teams in baseball overall, despite some ups and downs this season. In fact, on June the 2nd this year, there were 7 games under 500, and since June the 3rd of this year, the Phillies are 49-28. 25-32. That was their low mark. They've had the second best record in baseball behind the Braves since. Up and in on Adames, 2-2. Eighth pitch of the inning for Nola is ripped foul. Do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, this inning, if he can get the 3rd out, would really help reset that pitch count that was dreaded, looking like a 5 and 6 inning outing at the very best.
Going deep in outings his last few. And he gets the strikeout indeed. A much needed quick inning.
Counsel, Craig, Colin Ray, what have you seen so far?
Well, I think he's doing a good job. I mean, he's got a lot of swing and miss on the fastball so far. They've hit 2 breaking balls really well, but he's kind of adjusted and gone to the fastball and see how they make an adjustment back.
Carlos Santana, 10-pitch walk. Mark Hanna, double to start your 3-run second inning. What have those 2 veterans brought your team?
Just what we hoped, really. It's just solid veteran presence, solid at-bats. The ball's in play. There's a walk in there. There's some extra base hits in there. And they've just lengthened our lineup to the point where and that inning that we just had to score 3 runs is very similar to how we've been scoring runs, and obviously Mark right in the middle of it.
Craig, thanks very much.
Thanks, guys.
Canna from New York, Santana from Pittsburgh. Castellanos waves and misses. 0-2 from Colin Ray. Both Ray and Nola had their first 1-2-3 frames in the third.
Ray hasn't blinked. I got to give him a lot of credit. The first inning started with a home run and then a man on second, nobody out, and they didn't score. The second inning, another home run, and he really hasn't. What Craig Counsell was talking about, he's really made an adjustment. He gets a surprising amount of strikeouts up in the zone with that fastball, and he just has a unique ability to miss the bats at that top of the zone.
Kind of a winding road for the 33-year-old from Iowa. Originally a Padres draft pick in 2011. Castellanos fouls it away. Made his major league debut in 2015, did Ray. Got traded to Miami, had one start for the Marlins, suffered an elbow injury, and then was traded back to San Diego as if there was basically a failure of a physical. Castellanos to third. One big bounce for Monasterio. Throw to first to retire him. Ray has retired 10 of the last 11 Phillies. Down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, it's interesting, guys. Ray is a guy that they brought in with the injuries. They needed him to be a stopgap. And he made an important contribution for them. But when I talked to him about that yesterday, he said, you know what? I was looking to solidify myself. Didn't really happen. He spent a month in the minors. Well, maybe he can solidify himself better this time.
The guy went through those injury issues. Ended up with a couple of stints in Japan as well.
Ball one.
And Ray has been kind of that type of guy. All right, we need you. Come on up. All right, we don't need you right now. Don't worry about it. We won't use you.
Well, with this style of pitching and philosophy, a lot of teams this time of year are going to go to a six-man, which is shocking to me because you get out of rhythm a little bit. But that's what the clubs are doing to try to get through this part of the schedule, where the Brewers are going to have, what, 16 in a row. They'll go to a six-man. Same thing with the Phillies.
Phillies, too.
And you're going to need every asset that you have and resources to get to the end of the day.
Right.
And 28 games left, counting tonight for these two teams. It's game number 135. We're about a month away from the playoffs.
The luxury of, when I got to pitch, it was every 5 days, no matter what.
You kind of just knew, right?
The fifth starter in our rotation rarely pitched if there was an off day. And that rhythm and that timing that you got used to, you become creatures of habit, and it's a good place to be. I mean, I give these guys a lot of credit in this day and age because they are jumped around and skipped, not skipped, but pushed back. 5 days rest, 6 days rest. That would be tough if you're not used to it and trying to adjust and get the feel for your pitching, which to me, as a starting pitcher, because you only pitch once every 5 days, think about the percentage of times you actually feel good over the course of a season. You might feel your best on the 4th day and wake up and feel a little groggy on that 5th day, and you still got to pitch.
Payoff pitch to Stott is foul.
And so, unlike hitters, nice play by
Got the staff down there. This was nicely picked.
This ball is smoked, and who's out there showcasing?
Well, you got to have pitching and defense in Milwaukee if you want to be a part of the organization. So.
But the beauty about a hitter is he could go for his last 15, but he's going to be in there the next day. You get a chance to atone for it. You have a bad outing, you're waiting 5 days to atone for it, and it doesn't always work. The best job in baseball is a starting pitcher, and the worst job is a starting pitcher, and they go hand in hand. If you do well, it's the best job.
Sounds good. Seems great, doesn't it?
If you don't, it's the worst job.
4 straight fouled away by Stott. Another 3-2 is waved on and foul tip for a strikeout. The 6th already for Ray. And tonight's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Protect the stuff you love with Renters Insurance. Beautiful night in Milwaukee. Brewers have a 3-2 lead. Adam Amin, John Smoltz, Ken Rosenthal, our fabulous Fox Sports crew. Statistician Jack Svita. And Alec Boehm takes ball 1. I was calling the game last year early in the season when Alec Boehm had 3 errors in one game against the New York Mets, and was caught mouthing on camera, "I hate it here," and atoned for it in the media within a day. And it felt like the Philadelphia fans heard it, appreciated it, understood it, and then really got behind Alec Bohm, who improved his play as the season went on, had big moments all throughout last year. Big home run against Josh Hader at one point last season. That error yesterday, very frustrating for Bohm, who, as you mentioned, it just seems like he's developed this thick skin after that incident last season early.
Well, when he broke in, he wore everything on his sleeves, right?
Yep.
Emotional, very, very let you know how it's going.
Line shot to Santana to finish off a 1-2-3 inning. We've played 3.5, a one-run game.
Game day nachos in the oven? Just tell Siri. Set a timer for 10 minutes.
Plenty of good ballpark food here in Milwaukee at American Family Field, where the Brewers have the lead. And their new resident foodie is at the plate, Mark Canha. Popularized going around different Major League Baseball cities and sampling the local fare. He's excited to come to Milwaukee when he got traded from New York because of the food possibilities here in Wisconsin. Doubled to get things going in the second.
You okay?
Scored one of the 3 runs in the frame for Milwaukee after the Phillies had solo home runs from Schwarber and Real Muto in the first 2 frames.
He does such a great job, as I talked about earlier, commanding the strike zone. Rarely does he swing off balance, and rarely does he expand the zone. Very disciplined hitter. Not necessarily going to hit a ton of homers, but he's going to have the middle of the field in his sights of trying to take the ball where the pitcher's throwing it and hit it.
Canha's typically been in the top portions of the leaderboards when it comes to pitches per plate appearance. He kind of fits this Milwaukee Brewer profile perfectly because of how patient he's typically been at the plate. For his career, .348 on base percentage. Major League Baseball average is about .320 this season.
Yeah, and he's really kind of owned the starting pitchers on the season. Getting .381 against starting pitching.
1-2 is fouled back, and he stays alive. Decent numbers against Aaron Nola.
High velocity will get him. Fastballs up in the zone over 95 miles an hour, give him a little bit of problems.
Sure. Bat's not as quick as it used to be.
Nice ball.
Former Oakland Athletic. Last season joined the Mets. Of course, traded before the deadline to Milwaukee this year. Nola home with a 2-2 to Canna. 3-2.
He just makes you make perfect pitches to get him out, and that's just a credit to him and his discipline. His hands stay pretty quiet, trying to wait as long as he can to swing.
34-year-old bounces one foul up the third baseline. Aaron Nola, who needed just 9 pitches to get out of the 1-2-3 third. Already Canna making him work to start this bottom of the fourth with pitch number 8. And it's a walk to Canna to start it off. Philadelphia Phillies still have 7 more games against the Atlanta Braves coming. Braves are in Los Angeles, having taken the first 2 against the Dodgers in a 4-game weekend series. And Ronald Acuna Jr. this week setting some new historical marks. First 30-60 season Major League history. Still trying to become the first 40-40 player in some time. Only been 4 of them. The Braves 89 victories coming into action tonight. They've won 5 in a row and 17 of their last 21.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible timing that they've had offensively. Historically, they're going to break some records and some all-time records. But an incredible statement when they're thinking about the Dodgers can catch the Braves for the best overall record. This series was going to go a long ways to do that. I think they were only 4 games back when they started the series, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, it was 4.
Now they're 6, so they guaranteed a split of the 4 games. Have the Braves.
Wow, back. Pretty interesting day on Thursday for Acuna, who married his now wife. In the morning, they set up a very quick wedding, and then later that night, he hit the grand slam to reach the 30-60 mark. It's a wonderful story for Acuna. Bunt shown by Turang. He pulls back 2-1. He inscribed on the ticket that he hopes this day is well remembered by the 2 of them. Paraphrasing here, but a very sweet message he left on the ticket that he had given his wife for that game that night. Really cool story. Snap throw by Real Muto, and back in safely is Canna. Let's go down to Kenny for more.
Well, her visa was about to expire, Ronald Acuna's fiance, so effectively he had to get married, and he set it all up in LA, made sure he got it done. They have 2 children together. He wanted the family to stay together through the rest of the pennant race and the postseason and forever.
Ronald and his now wife Maria. Canna leads off first, a 3-1 to Turang. Is in there for a strike, 3-2. Those are going to be 7 huge games, 4 of them in Philadelphia, including a doubleheader the second week of September, and then 3 more after that late in the season. Payoff pitch. Called strike 3 on a fastball.
Turang's not going to like that, but those are 2 really tough pitches to make on a 3-1 count. He throws a curveball, and then he throws an inside fastball that tails back over the plate just a little bit. Might have been off the plate, and it was. But we've seen a couple generous calls on both sides of the plate that have benefited the pitcher.
Here's Andrew Monasterio. Taps one foul.
Canna is doing his best to try to cause stress for Nola. He's getting out to a lead, and I call it a one-way lead. but then trying to time it. And if he can time it right, he's going to go. He's not a speedster, of course. But I like the fact that you get way out there to entice some throws. Of course, you can only throw over 3 times.
Takes that secondary lead. A bouncer between Turner and Stott. Canna will hold up at second base. And it's a 1-out single for Monasterio.
I'm shocked by the positioning. I'm sure they had information for that, but that is a routine double play. Look where the second baseman's playing and where the shortstop's playing. They've got him to strictly pull. And with a runner on first, of course, the pitcher wants to entice a ground ball. That would typically be a routine double play ball, but not with the positioning there. And credit him for the base hit for hitting it where they weren't.
Well, we're getting set to go for football season. The regular season kicks off on Fox next Sunday. Huge doubleheader. You'll see Christian McCaffrey and the Niners take on an improving Steelers team. I've got Cardinals Commanders next Sunday. And then our game of the week, Packers and Bears, the new iteration with Jordan Love against Justin Fields, the headliners. May also see Rams and Seahawks. That's on Fox. You can check your local listings. Of course, if you're here in Milwaukee, I guarantee you'll be watching Packers Bears. 2 on, 1 out for the 9-hitter Taylor, who drove in a run and scored in the second. An RBI double out of the 9 spot in inning number 2.
Ball 1.
Take ball 1. Nola's pitch count continuing to climb, closing in on 80 with still only 1 down in the 4th.
And he's starting to pitch behind, which is not a good sign for a team that's patient and needs to feast off timely hitting and pitches in the zone. He has started to get behind in the count, which is where his average goes way up.
Ball.
2-0, and now some stirring in the Milwaukee bullpen, or in the Milwaukee pen actually, for the Brewers. They've got Andrew Chafin loosening up right now. Nothing doing in the Philly bullpen.
When Nola's ahead, he gives about a 169 batting average, behind 367, so almost 200 points difference.
Right.
There's a strike. Just that 1, 2, 3, third. Other than that, there's been traffic on the base paths in the first 4 frames. Taylor hits one on the ground to short. Turner to Stott. The relay in time. A huge double play to be turned by Nola, and that'll close out the Brewer threat in the 4th. JT Realmuto will lead off the 5th for Philadelphia. A solo shot back in the 2nd at 109.5 miles per hour. One of the hardest hit balls of his career. Certainly
38.
Yep. Off the Sargento side on the scoreboard here at American Family Field. Career home run number 150 for JT Realmuto. Two-time Gold Glover behind the plate. And has been key for the Phillies pitching staff all season. In particular, the bullpen. The Phillies bullpen's been a little down as of late, but a significant improvement. This is a Phillies bullpen that just was much maligned the last couple of years, and they've made a major improvement. Realmuto is no small part of that. And he rockets one to center field, but Frelick is there as to leap, as he often has this season, to make a really nice catch. One down here in the 5th.
This ball was squared up and had a lot of carry to it.
He's made some really impressive defensive plays. We saw Andrew Chafin loosening up in the last inning. You got 3 lefties coming up. And Colin Ray, who was called up from Nashville to make the start for the injured Adrian Hauser, has been a spot duty guy in 20 starts this year. Leaves with the lead intact and 1 out in the 5th. Monday night on FS1, Adley Rutschman and the Orioles will continue their fight for the AL East crown as they'll take on Shohei Ohtani and the Angels. 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 Pacific on FS1. Orioles taking on Arizona tonight. They are scoreless early on. Meanwhile, the Rays lead the Guardians 5-4 going into the bottom of the 9th in Cleveland. A 1.5 game spread between Baltimore and Tampa at the top of the American League East. Andrew Chafin to Brandon Marsh. Platoon advantage goes to the pitcher. It's ball 1.
Throws across his body, tough on left-handers. You see the stats on the year. He's going to throw a fastball sinker. And he's going to mix in that slider and changeup.
Jammed Marsh on a slow roller to third for Monasterio, and they get the second out of the frame. Ray finished off his night retiring 9 in a row and 13 of the last 14. The stretch continues as Chafin enters the game.
Well, he did a nice job just holding this offense to just 2 solo home runs and 6 strikeouts. So he mixed and matched. I'm sure would love to stay in there another 2/3 of an inning.
Sure. Just the 3 hits allowed, though. 2 home runs and a single to Turner. That was it. All that came in the first 7 batters of the game. Since then, he's been rock solid. Or he was rock solid. Now Chafin dealing with Cave.
Ball.
Chafin coming over in a trade from Arizona. Hasn't pitched since the 25th of August, so he's had a little bit of time between outings. His ERA a little bit inflated thus far. Chafin, another key left-handed piece in this Milwaukee bullpen. Got some velocity loosening up in the bullpen in Trevor McGill.
It is gas.
Yeah, they got a couple of right-handers in that pen that can hit 100 with some ease, including McGill. Got him. Chafin comes on, finishes off the 5th inning. We're halfway through in Milwaukee. The Brewers are on top. In the bottom of the 5th inning, top of the Milwaukee order with Christian Yelich leading things off. Brewers have made Nola work. Yelich fouls one to start. Yelich and Real Muto, of course, a couple of former Marlins. Think about that. They had Yelich, they had Stanton in there at one point, and Marcell Ozuna, JT Real Muto. Yelich on the ground to second, and it's gloved by Stott. A couple of pitches to retire Yelich.
Was Marte there too, starting Marte, or did he play?
I'm trying to think how long that his stint there was. I don't think he was there at the same time with all of them.
That's true. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he had a stint there in Miami as well before St. Louis. There's Contreras with one down. Hard hit ball. That is a fair ball down the line towards the corner. Contreras will wheel around. He's still pumping up. Now he's going to hold up as Schwarber finally got to it. Team leading 33rd double for Contreras. A 1-out 2-bagger here in the 5th.
Always looking to swing early, and you see his momentum. It takes him right to the pitch. And the bat stays right through the strike zone, and that allows him to hook it down the line. And an easy double. And once again, stress on Nola. Only a couple innings, with one inning without a base runner, and even struck out the side in the first with a walk.
Contreras extends his hit streak. Santana trying to do the same. It's now a career best 12 straight games for Contreras with a hit. Santana's got a 10-game hit streak working. He walked in the first before hitting a hard line out in the third. He skies one. Real Muto with the mask off. And he'll run out of room. Nola closing in on 90 pitches. This is his 28th start of the year. It's only the 4th time that he's had 3 innings in a game of 20-plus pitches. That's how the Brewers have made him work. The impending free agent to be after this season was so key in the playoffs last year for Philadelphia, making big start after big start.
Well, it's rare, you know, that he comes into the game and establishes his fastball right away, and then the fastball kind of disappeared from the strike zone, and that's when the trouble started.
You said it, guy who's so sharp with his curveball, especially early, but you have to work that off the fastball.
Yeah, you throw strikes with your fastball against this team, you're going to be having them in a big problem. Instead, the Brewers have kind of flipped the script on Nola. Patience and wearing him down.
There's that breaking ball for a called strike.
It takes a unique style of hitter to be able to hit with 2 strikes and hit after not really, you know, swinging the first 3 pitches of the at bat. But when you see everything that a pitcher has and you start recognizing the strike zone, you can make it work to your advantage.
Saw Sir Anthony Dominguez loosening up behind Nola, who deals another breaking ball and misses. Nola 7 innings in each of his last 2 outings against the Giants and the Cardinals. May not be one for that much length tonight. Another long at bat for Santana. A payoff pitch is lifted deep to right center field, and it is gone. Carlos Santana. A rocket shot from the 37-year-old to give Milwaukee a 5-2 lead.
Worked the count to 3-2, got the one he wanted, and this was a no doubt about it.
Here is Frelick. He swings away, pops it up, helping Nola out. Nola just trying to get through this 5th inning now, as Milwaukee has scored the last 5 runs, the last 2 on that Santana blast.
Another hanging breaking ball, just sat in the middle of the plate. As soon as he let it go, you could see Nola hop, and when the pitcher hops, he's hoping that he gets that ball back, but he didn't.
Career home run number 297 for Carlos Santana, top 10 in Major League history among switch hitters. Closing in on 300 himself. Here's Adames taking ball 1. For Santana, 24 of those 297 came with the Phillies in 2018, where he played 161 games, a career high.
Ball.
2-0 on Adames.
Ball.
3-0. It's not been the Aaron Nola of late.
That's outside.
It's a 4-pitch walk to Adames. Some more action in the Philadelphia bullpen behind Aaron Nola. Dylan Covey loosening up for the Phillies. Down to Ken Rosenthal for some more.
Well, Adam, Carlos Santana was lobbying Brewers players and coaches to get him to Milwaukee as far back as 2021. At one point, he even asked fellow first baseman Rowdy Tellez to inform the Brewers front office of his interest. Tellez, not wanting to lose playing time, thought, why would I do that? Well, Santana finally got his wish on July 27th, and you heard Craig Counsell. He is an incredible professional, takes pride in every aspect of his game. During batting practice yesterday, he was in deep conversation with a Brewers official about his defensive metrics.
He's made a couple of nice plays tonight as well. Canna lifts it towards the gap in right center field. The veterans coming up big for Milwaukee. It was Santana with the home run. It's Canna with the RBI double at 6-2. That's going to do it for Nola.
Strange how pitching can go. Strike out the side in the first and leave the game trailing by 4.
That'll do it for Nola, his shortest outing in a couple of weeks. Responsible for Canna at second and the 6 across. The Brewers have a 4-run lead. Milwaukee 2 on a big shot from Carlos Santana. Part of the reason that Aaron Nola gets pushed out of the game without leaving the 5th. A 6-2 lead for Milwaukee. It's Andrew Bellotti, 64, not 54, that has come into the game for Aaron Nola, who goes just 4 2/3. 5 extra base hits given up by Nola, 4 doubles and a homer. And now Bellotti is on. He finished off the Tuesday victory against the Angels earlier this week.
Fastball slider change. Fastball about 94 miles an hour. And trying to cool down this offense. Some 2-out thunder so far for the Brewers.
Bryce Turang waves and misses. Bellotti, the former Tampa Bay Ray, Miami Marlin, his second year with the Philadelphia Phillies, with a lot of minor league stops in between some of those major league stints. There's a fastball strike. I spent time in independent baseball in the Atlantic League, a couple of stints down in Texas. And his major league debut in 2015, didn't return to the big leagues until 2021 with Miami. 1-2. Hard hit by Turang into right field. His second hit of the night, and it'll be his second RBI. Milwaukee keeps on adding. They've scored 7 unanswered. It's their second 4-run frame of this series at 7-2.
He hadn't caught up to the fastball, but he got a slider down and in, and right down the left-handed swing plane. You see this slider come right over the heart of the plate. And you can see how you attack a hanging breaking ball and pull it down the line or in between first and second.
Charge that run, and all 7 on the board right now for the Brewers against Aaron Nola, and close out his line. Andrew Monasterio will take strike 1. So Turang, who'd gone 1 for 19 over the last week plus, has 2 hits and 2 RBIs tonight. Monasterio chases. It's 0-2. Again, this is Milwaukee starting to find something offensively, and the length of the lineup that Craig Counsell talked about, not having to have some of the younger guys hit 4th and 5th, or even in the 6th spot if he doesn't need them to. He can put them down in the 7, 8, 9 spots, and they've been comfortable and productive at times in this stretch.
Well, even though he hasn't been in the game to get all 7 runs, we talked about the run support for Colin Ray, and he's right on task. 7.1.
Yep.
And they've reached their 7th spot here in the 5th.
This is now 58 runs in their last 8 home games. That's fouled off the paraphernalia of home plate umpire Hunter Wendelstedt. Second shortest outing this season, and the 7 runs against him ties a season high. Disappointed Aaron Nola looking on, hoping that his offense can make this game more interesting in the later innings. Bellotti trying to get out of this frame as Monasterio fouls it away.
Well, this offense really has worked over this Philadelphia pitching staff and taken advantage of hittable pitches and working the count to their favor.
Monasterio lifts one into shallow left. Schwarber in, Turner out, and it's going to drop. And good base running by Turang, who never stopped. He ends up at third. Boy, left field with Kyle Schwarber has been an adventure at times, and that ball was popped in no man's land between Turner and Schwarber.
Yeah, this is where you wish there was a I don't know, team error, because this never is a base hit, right?
Yep.
I mean, that ball's up in the air, and two fielders looked at each other twice, stopped twice, and that's a recipe for disaster. Schwarber has had rockets over his head, and then that one blooper falls right in front, and Brew Crew is looking to break this game wide open.
9-hitter is Taylor. Runners at the corners and 2 out. Brewers batting through. This inning started with a Yelich ground out. Contreras doubled. Santana the 2-run home run. Frelick popped out. Since then, 4 straight Brewers have reached. Adames walked. RBI double from Canna. Nola left. Bellotti came in. RBI single Turang. And the bloop in between Turner and Schwarber for Monasterio. We said the offense for the Brewers has started to pick it up. This is the 5th straight home game for Milwaukee that they have either batted through or batted around their order in an inning.
A lot of good things will happen when you do that. You're guaranteed a minimum of 3.
Yep. Bigger innings as of late. Monasterio goes. Called strike 3 from Bellotti to Taylor to put an end to the frame. But another big inning. 4 runs across for Milwaukee. Santana the 2-run shot. Brewers in control. Two of the RBIs in the inning. Canna and Turang had the others at a 7-2 lead, and Kyle Schwarber pops up a bunt attempt to start this 6th inning against Andrew Chafin.
Now he's figured that shift, and all you gotta do is turn around, sacrifice, and literally tell the pitcher, I'm bunting, and there's nothing you can do about it. But everyone tries to kind of make it perfect when you don't have to make it perfect at all. It's just something no one really practices.
Yeah.
And then there's opportunities where your team's down, you get some base runners, you get a rally going.
Sacrifice hits are drastically down the last couple of years, but especially this year. 1-2 on Schwarber, who had a little bit of a defensive miscue. along with Turner on a ball that dropped in between them in left field in the last swing. That one off the fists of Schwarber, popped up. It's the second baseman Turang who's got it for out number 1. 12 straight Phillies and 16 of the last 17 have been retired by Brewer pitching.
Yeah, when you lose a tough game like the Phillies did, you couldn't ask for a better start to the game, going up 2-0. And then give the Brewers credit, 7 in a row.
Chafin's done. McGill's coming in. Baseball. We got a chance to talk to Craig Counsell before the game, and when we walked into the office, Bob Uecker was there finishing up his customary pregame radio interview with the Brewers manager. And you always hope to time it out well when you go down to the Brewers clubhouse and hope that Mr. Uecker is there, because typically you'll get a few yarns spun from the great Bob Uecker, 89 years young. Still the outstanding voice of the Milwaukee Brewers, still as funny as they come, and still as pleasant as they possibly could be.
Yeah, it sure was enjoyable. Catching up, a lot of history there.
Not just a phenomenal broadcaster, a former comic, former actor. A lot of appearances on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Of course, was on Mr. Belvedere. He, Bob Costas, and Joe Morgan made up one of the great playoff baseball crews for ABC back in the 1980s and into the 90s for NBC. And Bob's still one of the best in the business. The team he calls games for is playing well, but first pitch to Trey Turner is launched, and Trey Turner's hot streak continues. His 5th straight game with a home run, his 6th in the last 5 games. His 21st of the year, and the Phillies not done yet. McGill is greeted rudely by Turner.
You know, I don't want to make this an excuse for a reliever, but he was warming up about an hour ago, it seemed like. And you got to pace it and pace it and pace it. And he comes in first pitch and gets welcomed to that home run. So tough scenario for McGill, but you're going to see a lot of velocity out of this young man.
Bryce Harper fouls one back.
As a reliever, you always get ready for the timing to come in the game. Well, there's the swing and the home run. He used the velocity and got the power off that fastball and just connected. He literally was in the bullpen for 35 minutes. I'm guessing 35 minutes, but it felt like 35 minutes for the amount of time it took for Philadelphia to make pitching changes and Milwaukee to continue their scoring, and in 9 batters to the plate.
Harper waves and misses 1 and 2. And you expect velocity, obviously, when McGill comes in. That one was a 101-mile-an-hour fastball that Turner lifted the other way for a home run. Well, he's been spraying his home runs as of late, too. Harper goes down swinging at 101. 2 down here in the 6th inning.
This is where you get Harper. You got to pitch him in the top of the zone, and that's exactly where that fastball went.
Harper now 0 for 7 with 3 strikeouts in the series. There's Castellanos, who's 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts in the set so far. He fouls one off. Another fastball.
Yeah, the Phillies just haven't been. Well, first of all, they got a ton of swing and misses tonight.
Yeah.
And the first pitcher wouldn't be the pitcher you think you're going to get that many tons of swing and misses. So swinging underneath a lot of fastballs at the top of the zone. They've been beating them with fastballs, and it has showed up in their lineup.
So we got 14 swings and misses from Colin Ray against Phillies hitters in his 4 1/3 tonight. A 1-1 to Castellanos. 1 and 2. Speaking of swing and miss.
That's just a dirty pitch when you're trying to get ready for 100 miles an hour. You got a big right-handed pitcher going downhill, falling off to the first base side.
1-2. Check swing. 2 and 2.
And see that you see where he's going. I mean, there really is no other place for him to go to throw that hard. And that's kind of the style of pitching that they're teaching today. They're not teaching, stand straight over the rubber and then finish to home plate where you can field your position. These kind of pitchers don't worry about fielding their position. They're missing bats.
22 swings and misses from Phillies hitters tonight against Milwaukee pitching. Brewers have retired 19 of the last 21 with Turner a home run in the frame. Christian Yelich grounded out to start the 5th inning, and he starts off the 6th inning after the Brewers batted through in the 5th and scored 4 runs. Phillies got one back in the top of the inning with that Turner solo shot. A 7-3 game to the bottom of the 6th. Still Andrew Bellotti into his 2nd inning of relief. He deals a strike to even the count on Yelich. 3 runs for Philly, all on 3 solo home runs from Schwarber, Realmuto, and Turner.
Well, nothing's a must-win, but you got to feel like the Phillies got to figure out a way to win tomorrow's game if they don't come back in this one. They've had some tough losses in a row now. Going back to the Angels, I think give up 3 in the 9th.
Yep,
Kimbrel. So they're in good positioning for the wild card, but they do have those 7 games against the Atlanta Braves. That'll be a tough match, and this stretch will have taken a little strength away from them, because they could have opened up a large margin in the wild card race.
See Dave Dombrowski, the president of baseball operations for the Phillies. Phillies did make a move. Of course, the rosters expand by 2 from 26 to 28 on September the 1st, on Friday. One of the moves for Philadelphia was to bring Ranger Suarez back from the injured list. He's slated to start tomorrow. Yelich waves and misses. Bellotti gets the strikeout to start the 6th inning. The MLB app is your place for live baseball, real-time highlights, and pitch-by-pitch updates faster than ever. You can get personalized highlight reels based on players you follow every day. Download the MLB app today. By a few seconds, the Italian sausage, the victor on a Saturday night in Milwaukee. One down for Contreras. He's got a double and a run scored tonight, both coming in the 5th. Now, right now, a decent lead at the top of the wild card race for Philadelphia entering action tonight. They were still 2.5 up on the Cubs. There's a tapper from Contreras off the mound. Bellotti, tough play, and safe is Contreras. That ball will go to the sidewall. It's backed up by Stott, and it'll be an infield single for Contreras, his 2nd hit of the night.
Well, of course, once with the Braves, and now the Braves have a tandem of Murphy and d'Arnaud. Never an issue of whether Contreras could hit. It's how many combination, the catching part of handling a pitching staff, and they feel like here he's getting a little bit better and better every time out.
Depending on how much weight you put on the metrics, all the metrics are much better this season for Contreras. Here's Santana taking a big home run cut. He's been a much better pitch blocker this year. He's been a significantly better pitch framer this year than he has been in the last couple of seasons. And that's a trade that kind of worked out for everybody, right? The 3-team deal for Oakland, Atlanta, and Milwaukee. Murphy goes to Atlanta, has arguably had the best season of any catcher in the National League. You get Contreras to Milwaukee, and Yoel Payams, who's been fabulous for the most part out of the Milwaukee pen, and then Esteury Ruiz, who's a speedster, ends up going to Oakland, has had a really nice season stealing bases. 0-2 to Santana. Foul back down to Ken Rosenthal.
Adam, you mentioned those metrics with Contreras. Those haven't been the issue. The issue, the question, has been, can he connect with their pitchers? And that is where he has made strides in really the last month. Craig Counsell says that Contreras at times will trust his own judgment rather than rely on scouting reports because his instincts behind the plate are so good, but he's learning the proper balance. Counsell credits him in particular with helping Adrian Hauser.
So key, obviously, to have that veteran presence behind the plate when you get deeper and deeper, or attempting to get deeper and deeper into a playoff run.
Well, and that's where information can get a little confusing when you've never really played the game, to understand the balance between a catcher and a pitcher's relationship and how important that is.
Bouncing ball, Stott to his right, flip to Turner, relay to first, and Santana still has some speed at 37 years of age. Will beat it out on a slowly developing play.
No better example than what's going on in Houston. Of course, Maldonado, not known for his hitting, but tremendous catching and taking the pitching staff in Houston, obviously winning a world championship. And then you've got this young Diaz who can flat out hit, and the battle of, you know, what are you sacrificing, what are you gaining? And, you know, me being a pitcher, knowing how important that relationship is with a catcher, I'm going to take that guy that I can trust is going to navigate me through the game. If he can get a little offense along the way, that's great. But that's the one position you're willing to sacrifice a little bit, and it's hard to measure that in a metrics, because the quantitative information would speak to, well, Diaz has to be the guy, and that's just one example, and there's many other examples throughout the league that you can make that case.
Frelick reaches out, pokes it to short center. Turner had a good read on it, and he'll run it down to close out a scoreless 6th inning. To the 7th we go. Seven to 3, Brewers on top. Brewers with a 3.5 game lead at the top of the National League Central on the Cubs, who had a 1-0 lead to the bottom of the 9th before the Reds came back to tie it and are threatening to win it. Those two teams split a day-night doubleheader yesterday. Milwaukee still with 3 more to play against the Cubs here at American Family Field at the end of the season. Mentioned with Philly, they've still got 7 against Atlanta. Philly still has 7 more against the New York Mets as well. Maybe that helps balance out some of their schedule. But the Brewers and Cubs will play the final 3 games of the regular season here in Milwaukee. That could go a long way into determining a potential playoff spot, certainly a division title. And we just did get word that the Reds walk it off again. A 2-1 Cincinnati victory tonight. That pushes the Milwaukee lead in the NL Central to 4 games. Cubs took 2 of 3 earlier this week. Those are the only 2 Brewers losses in the last 11 games.
Nice stop.
Yeah, the timing of the Brewers has been really important, because the Cubs got super hot a little bit while ago, and now still playing pretty good baseball. But the Milwaukee Brewers have really firmly taken this division, and it looks really good based on guys getting healthy for them.
Stott goes down swinging. McGill starts the 7th with a K, 1 down. He's retired the last 3 on strikeouts. Ends up being Hunter Renfroe beating out a double play ball to drive in the winning run for Cincinnati tonight. Sir Anthony Dominguez is loosening up in the Philadelphia bullpen. Bellotti an inning and a third likely done. Bohm fouls one away. 5-5 is the season series between the Cubs and Brewers, so it really is going to come down to those 3 games at the end of the month to close the regular season. Slicer towards right center. Frelick on the move, can't get there. Taylor will play it off the wall. Alec Bohm will cruise into second base with a 1-out double. It's a 7-3 game, but if last night's game was any indication, the late innings is where we might see a whole lot of fireworks. The Phillies have a man in scoring position.
Well, this is just good hitting. He goes down with a breaking ball, and you mentioned the slicing ball away from a guy who can go get him in center field. Worth the effort.
Frelick almost made another excellent play. He made a great play to take a base hit away from JT Realmuto back in the 5th on a rocket to center field. He's made a bunch of those plays in his about 30+ games in the major league level, playing in right and center field. If you're going to be called up by the Brewers, you're probably a decent defender at worst. That's the name of the game for Milwaukee and its excellent pipeline. It's got one of the best farm systems in all of baseball. In fact, top 5 now after all the draft and rankings and trade deadline, and they're one of the best farm systems in the game. Just about everybody they bring up is a plus defender. Speaking of which, Realmuto fouls one away.
Well, they're not going to be a club that primarily signs a guy to a 10-year contract or an 8-year contract. They're going to rely on some young players in pitching and defense, as they mentioned, in this market. And they're going to maneuver and try to use a lot of pieces to be successful.
The right field line out of play, foul. You asked Craig Counsell a little bit about this. I'm sure you've asked different managers. I've kind of asked similar questions, just especially for teams that rely so heavily on pitching, defense, maybe not as much on the home run ball. Does that seemingly bode well for these next couple of years after all the rule changes we've seen? Our front offices going to start making adjustments to how they sign players, what type of players that they're curious about in the offseason? Realmuto takes very high. Contreras snatched it.
Well, they're going to have to. I think you'd be foolish not to. And I think up until this point, the style of baseball that was being played was taking advantage of the rules that existed then. The rules came into play to kind of secretly move philosophically the way the game is played, and it's worked. Not every team was ready for those moves roster-wise, and it showed up.
Realmuto goes down swinging. 4th strikeout for McGill since coming in.
And so some teams might have had an inclination and moved in that direction, and they're benefiting it. But I think the fact that this now has opportunities for, I don't care what market you're in, you can now compete with the big boys in different ways. Whereas if you didn't have slug and home runs and you didn't have power, you were going to have a hard time winning baseball games. Now I think it'll start balancing itself out with more athleticism and speed in the game.
Here's Marsh.
Well, and let's face it, I mean, I know the velocity is at an all-time high, but the teams that put the ball in play now are going to be rewarded too, because there's no shift, and the ball on the ground should represent a better batting average, and singles will come back into play.
That was the move last night. Owen Miller came in off the bench to help put the ball in play, and obviously the mistake by Bohm led to Milwaukee taking the lead. But we see so many more of those situations, especially late in games now, where just putting the ball in play and forcing defenses to have to do something a little bit uncomfortable in tight spots is leading to some of these bigger innings as well. I haven't looked at the data, but it does feel like we're seeing more and more big innings, partially because of the pitch clock and not being able to catch up, but because you're putting the ball in play a lot more.
Absolutely. And there's more things to worry about for a pitcher. So put stress on a pitcher, and Usually you're going to wear them out over time. Base runners, threat of stealing.
Marsh unable to catch up to 99 and a chance to get out of this inning with no damage done for McGill.
Besides this guy having a great number, 29.
Yep.
Got a great arm. I mean, this guy goes downhill with a fastball.
3 fastballs to Marsh. Now he elevates again, and Contreras has been busy behind the plate trying to snag these elevated heaters.
I mean, this would be such dirty pool to throw a breaking ball,
ball
right now.
Yeah, to throw a spike a slider at this moment.
I mean, I don't think he will, but it would be hard for Marsh to lay off of it.
Just got a strikeout on Real Muto with the slider. He'll stick with the fastball here. And Marsh will extend the inning. Now all of a sudden things are getting a little interesting here. Jake Cave's got a little bit of pop in the bat. You got Schwarber on deck now. He's scheduled on deck. And this is going to induce a visit from Chris Hook.
Can I just say, as a pitching coach goes, that's one of the greatest all-time pitching coaches' names.
Oh, here comes now.
Here
now
comes the Hook.
If he ever became a manager,
you wouldn't want to see him coming to the mound.
That would just be the easiest possible pun to make. Bob Uecker would have a field day with that, I'm sure.
I mean, it's one of the all-time best. Rich Doobie wasn't too bad either.
Certain players and then certain people's favorite name, I would say. Well, we talked about it. The late innings last night helped determine this game. 4 runs by both teams in the 8th inning. Phillies have a ton of comebacks this season, 39 of them. 14 came in August out of their 17 wins. And since the All-Star break, these two teams are 1-2 in terms of comebacks. Brewers included last night in that mix with 16 since the All-Star break. These two teams are never out of it. You mentioned some of the numbers against the bullpens. These two teams have been very good against bullpens this year. And a couple of swings could change the complexion of this game very quickly. McGill to Cave, the 9-hitter. A big pitch to start this at bat.
Well, they're also 2 pretty good teams in one-run games. The Brewers 27-13 in one-run games. 23-18 are the Phillies.
Both top 5 in baseball.
That's the ball.
That's been a hallmark for the Brewers, especially under Craig Counsell, especially late in the year these last several seasons. And you're going to see more of that with teams like you talked about, like the Brewers, that don't necessarily rely on the big home run shots. Big cut from Cave on a breaking ball. There was that nasty spiked slider, and a chance to finish off this inning for McGill again.
I tell you, when he doesn't overthrow his fastball, which is something easier said than done, hitters have no chance.
There it is. 99, blew it past Cave, and McGill leaves a pair of Phillies stranded in the 7th. It's stretch time in Milwaukee. Brewers still with a 4-run advantage. The first place team in the National League Central, winners of 9 of their last 11. Is sponsored by Jersey Mike's Subs. Be a sub above. The longest tenured managers in baseball, in fact, the two most tenured managers, Tito Francona and Kevin Cash, their teams just finished off a wild one in Cleveland. A game that went to 11 innings. Guardians tied it at 4 in the 9th. Rays scored one in the 11th, and then the Guardians scored twice in the bottom of the 11th inning to win that game. That's now 4 wins in a row for Cleveland. And suddenly the lead from Minnesota at the top of the American League Central has been trimmed down to 4.5 games.
Yeah, they're rooting for Texas Rangers to come back in that game tonight. They're currently down by 1 to the Twins in the 8th.
It's our other Fox game tonight with Kenny Albert and AJ Pierzynski. Congrats, by the way, to Kenny Albert. His book just came out.
Yes, we did.
A Voice for All Seasons. Our phenomenal colleague who's been with Fox Sports since the beginning in 1994. Sir Anthony Dominguez is out there to take on Willy Adames to begin the bottom of the 7th. Dominguez charged with the blown save on Wednesday in the finale against Los Angeles. And he allowed a couple of inherited runners to score. Part of the up and down nature of bullpens. Again, overall, the Philly bullpen has been great this year, especially compared to last year. But just in a stretch where guys are coming off injuries and trying to get back into a rhythm and into their normal roles.
Well, they have the potential to be a wipe out, lights out bullpen. They really do. They have that kind of strength and numbers. They just need them to kind of be clicking and healthy at the right time. And you get into a playoff situation, their experience they went through last year, and because their top 3 starters pitched innings,
One away.
they got a chance to do a lot of that. They got Alvarado coming back, of course, Kimbrel, the veteran, Soto.
And again, their bullpen comes in with gas. 97 on that last sinking fastball from Dominguez to retire Adames. One down for Cano, who's been on base all 3 times tonight. 2 doubles, 2 runs, an RBI, and a walk for Mark Cano this evening. Jeff Hoffman came into a high leverage spot last night, did his job. Obviously that he was pitching when the error was committed, but he's done well this year. For more on the bullpen, down to Ken Rosenthal.
Well, you just saw that graphic. Hardest throwing bullpen in the major leagues. Maybe the best bullpen Dave Dombrowski has ever assembled. They've got from the right side, Dominguez right here and Craig Kimbrel. From the left side, Jose Alvarado, Gregory Soto, and Matt Strahm. And you mentioned Jeff Hoffman. Big surprise for them. We just named 6 relievers. Most teams are scrambling to get those middle innings covered. Not the Phillies.
Like you said, just kind of want to be clicking all together at the most key point of the season down to this final month. Cano rockets one down the left field line, but pulled foul. Of course, Cano's seen Dominguez a little bit in his National League East battles the last year and a half with the New York Mets. Dominguez dealing with a left oblique strain that kept him on the IL for a stretch. Called strike 3 with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 up and 2 down to the 7th.
That ball looked low and stayed right on plane. Caught Canna.
First time the veteran's been retired tonight. Now the youngster Bryce Turang, who's got a couple of hits and a couple of runs batted in this evening, trying to bust out of a slump. Key out to try to get for Dominguez, a 1-2-3 inning to bring the Philly offense back out with the top of the order due up for the Phils.
Strike 2.
Quickly ahead of Turang, 0-2. Called strike 3. Wow, makes quick work of Milwaukee in that 7th inning. 4-run game. It was the 8th inning last night that got the Phillies in front. The top of the order of Schwarber, Turner, and Harper all due up in the top of the 8th tonight. On demand with MLB at Bat Plus. You can watch all minor league baseball and live look-ins on MLB Big Inning with no blackouts. MLB.com/@bat for details. Key spot here for Hobie Milner, who pitched the 7th inning last night and got Harper, Castellanos, and Stott in order. 2 lefties due up here with Schwarber and Harper, with Turner sandwiched in between.
You can see how nasty he is on left-handers with that arm angle and throwing across his body and slinging the ball, creating an illusion to left-handed hitters. Tough to pick up.
Inside.
Behind Schwarber, 3-0 to start this 8th inning. Schwarber has been the leadoff man in all 4 trips to the plate. Hit the solo home run in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd, and popped out in the 6th. Takes all the way. Tough view here.
You see this. He throws down and around and tough.
That's inside.
And Schwarber, as he has done 103 times this year, second to only Juan Soto in baseball. He is aboard to start this 8th inning, and here comes Trey Turner, and already Craig Counsell is on the phone.
Yeah, not the start you want when you're going to face Harper and Schwarber. You hope he takes care of the left-handed hitters. A little bit different angle for right-handed hitters to see this coming in full view.
Out in front that time was Turner. Red hot Trey Turner.
Ball, no, he didn't.
He's got 6 home runs in this 5-game stretch. A season high 13-game hit streak since that ovation on August the 4th from the fans in Philly. He has been on fire. He gave them the lead last night with a 3-run home run before the bullpen gave it up in the 8th inning.
Well, emotionally, there's no doubt that helped, but he did make a physical adjustment at the plate, and along with his hands and how he's gripping the bat. So you combine the both of those things, and you've got the heart pumping in a different way, right? When you come to Philadelphia and high expectations, you don't start out fast. They're going to let you know about it, but they did the return flip on him. Never seen it before, and it's worked.
Between radio callers and Chuck and Mount Airy inspiring Bryce Harper, and the fans getting softer in Philly perhaps. But this rolled over to short. Adames to Turang, and Turner beats it out at first to avoid the double play ball.
I mean, listen, they boo Santa Claus in Philadelphia.
Yeah, perhaps a new era in Philadelphia. Is that the case?
Yeah. I think this is going to catch on to other places where notoriously fan bases can be pretty tough.
I can't wait till Fenway Park starts giving ovations to guys who've been struggling a little bit. Here's Harper. Big cut. Swing and a miss. Our fabulous director, Matt Gangle, who's a Minneapolis resident, was saying that they're kind of doing that in Minnesota right now to try to get Carlos Correa going again.
Yeah.
Another guy who signed a big contract and has not necessarily lived up to it just yet. Harper, without batting gloves on, takes another big cut. It's 0-2. He switched it up here, did Harper.
Yeah, Harper in this game looks a little bit big in his swing. We've always seen a big swing, and he'll obviously connect with power, but a lot of swing and misses in tonight's game.
Fouls one back. We've seen this before with Harper. He'll wear the batting gloves early at bats, and right now he's got nothing on him. He hit his first home run of the season, in fact, earlier this year after coming back from Tommy John surgery. He took off the batting gloves.
Sometimes hitters will tell you they just want to feel the bat, right?
Sure.
You got batting gloves on for your whole career, and for the most part, majority of the hitters do, to get grip, to get feel for the bat. But then sometimes it feels a little different when there are no batting gloves on there. Change it up.
Breaking ball is fouled back. We were there for that home run against the Boston Red Sox back in early May. Incredible that it took such a short amount of time relative to just about everybody else who's had Tommy John surgery for Harper to come back as quickly as he did. Surgery that took place in November, and he was back in early May, the first week of May, and picked it up in August. Harper bounces one off the plate. Milner off the mound to field it, and he throws it into right field. Turner on his way to third, Harper on his way to second, and there's two in scoring position with one out for Philadelphia in the 8th.
And that was the downside of the release angle that he throws from the mound. It was going to be tougher to throw to first in that position, and he threw it wild. Watch this high chopper that he's normally going to make this play. Harper's out, but he slings it and really never set his feet. He had time and really tried to make it a quick play, and that has got him out of the game, and a mini rally here for the Philadelphia Phillies.
With Castellanos coming up and only one out in the 8th inning, things getting interesting. The 8th inning has been calling for it in this series. Here comes Peguero. Lead it by 4. 2 runners are aboard. Cubs were walked off by the Reds earlier tonight. Milwaukee's lead in the National League Central is up to 4 and a chance to extend it. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Phillies still on the #1 slot in the wild card. Cubs are #2. Arizona and San Francisco battling for that final spot. Giants trail the Padres tonight, while the Diamondbacks trail the Orioles. Elvis Peguero pitched during the Cubs series last on Wednesday in the finale of that set, tossed a perfect inning. He is on in a big spot. The tying run is on deck in Stott. Castellanos at the plate with Turner at third and Harper at second.
Fastball slider really is what he throws. Slings it low 3/4.
50-50 split.
Ball 1.
And the most important thing here, and obviously Castellanos wants to keep the hit parade going and keep the guys on base, but he has to make contact and drive in 1, right? You're in the 8th inning. I'm sure he's looking to drive the ball and get 3 on the board if he lifts 1.
Get the ball in.
2-0.
I've seen these situations play out where you don't want to let the pitcher off the hook by wild swings trying to hit home runs, pass the baton on, and in playoffs that's what's going to work.
Lifts it the other way to right. Taylor is back. He's got it. Turner has got plenty of speed. Harper's going to take off for third and get in safely. Sacrifice fly for Castellanos gets 1 across, and the lead is down to 3.
And on the flip side, the reliever will trade it out for a run. I mean, so it's a win-win for both, but What Milwaukee did to the Philadelphia Phillies, it's the Phillies' turn to try to get some 2-out runs, because those are backbreakers from what Milwaukee was able to do in their 7-0 run that they were on.
Ball one.
You get a hit here and you feel like you're right there within striking distance, even if they don't get another run going to the ninth.
Ball two.
We did ask Craig Counsell about the availability of Devin Williams, who went an inning and a third last night. Ended up blowing the save, but then getting the win after the offense came up. He wasn't sure up until pregame. And there for a strike. He's got arms in this bullpen just like Philadelphia does to go in different directions if need be. But it's very rare to see multiple innings for both of these bullpens. These two managers like to keep it clean for their relievers, as every manager does, but these two have been particularly successful in that regard, not having to push guys beyond 3 outs. One year on the job for the man on the left, 9 on the job for the man on the right. 3-1 to Stott. Chopper back up the middle. The second baseman Turang with a nice play on the move to finish off the inning. Just one across for Philadelphia. It's a 7-4 Brewers lead. Last of the 8th. By Jardians. American Family Field has been friendly to the Brewers. They have won 7 consecutive home games, scoring 58 runs over the last 7+ now. They've got a 7-4 lead to the bottom of the 8th, trying to add on against Dylan Covey. A lot of pitches that he can choose from. And he's going to come in and try to keep this game right where it's at for Philadelphia. Meanwhile, it'll be 8-9-1 for Milwaukee. Andrew Monasterio leads it off and takes a strike. Another guy who started off hot after he got called up, has slowed down since, but a couple of hits tonight. Tapper foul, 0-2.
Yeah, the Brewers have been trying to find that answer at third base, and they've even gone to acquire Josh Donaldson and see if he gets healthy, if there's any lightning left in that player.
Ball.
Expected to report to AAA Nashville this weekend and could be at the big league level as early as next week. Brian Anderson was the main third baseman. He got banged up with a back injury, and Monasterio did a really nice job, both offense and defense, at third for a while.
Ball.
I've never remembered a situation where obviously the rules have changed for trade deadline and then acquiring a player if he's released, and we had a slew of players.
Oh, yeah. The waiver wire, Cleveland was as notable as any. You saw all those pitchers get waived by various organizations, and Cleveland went out and grabbed a bunch of arms to try to bolster their pitching staff for a potential final stretch run. There is Devin Williams loosening up.
Yeah, it goes in ranking order of least to first, meaning the teams that are behind have the rights to claim them. And I thought it was just a brilliant move by Cleveland. Everyone kind of maybe assumed that Minnesota would just walk away with that division. Well, not so fast.
Comeback win tonight for the Guardians against Tampa. Payoff pitch to Monasterio from Covey. Fouled back. So Williams, potential save situation if Milwaukee doesn't add on. Brewers trying to make it 11 of their last 13 with a win tonight. Monasterio with a 3-hit game. Those have been rare to come by as of late, but he's got one tonight. He leads off this 8th inning with a well-struck single. He's pulled all 3 of his hits tonight. And an insurance run is on base for the Brewers here in the 8th. You get to this time of the year in Milwaukee, especially the last half decade, they call it Craig Timber as a nod to their manager Craig Counsell. In September and October, going back to 2018, this team is 85-55. A really strong late season record. A lot of close wins. They seemingly have played some of their best baseball of the season when it gets down to the crunch time moments of the year. Taylor fouls one at the plate.
Well, in years past, no team had exposed September baseball better than the Milwaukee Brewers, because they would call up a ton of people and really make it chaotic for other teams. And now that the rules have changed and you can't do that, it'd be interesting to see how they navigate only one pitcher you can call up and one position player.
1-1 bunt shown.
Ball.
Taylor pulls it back 2-1. Ken Rosenthal, you can add.
This is the last year of Craig Counsell's contract, and if he does not re-sign with the Brewers, he could be one of the biggest free agents available this offseason. That success that you guys just spoke of, he's done it routinely with bottom half payrolls. This would be, if the Brewers hold on, their 3rd division title in the last 6 years. Now, he's never won Manager of the Year. It's kind of interesting. Finished 2nd 3 times, 4th once, 7th once. Maybe this year will be different. The Brewers again outperforming their preseason projections.
In a division where at one point Pittsburgh was flirting with the top, Cincinnati had their magical run with all their young players. The Cubs have now started to come around, but Milwaukee's been 1st or 2nd in the division pretty much all year, and they've been number 1 for the entirety of the last month. Here's Yelich. Nice play by Turner a moment ago.
Well, I still thought they were dangerous because of their starting pitching, but
Sure.
I never thought they'd have that many injuries to it, and that's why they started out slow. I never thought, and wasn't kind of, you know, everyone was on the St. Louis Cardinals coming into this season. I was a little concerned about their starting pitching, and it showed itself to be the reason, not to mention other things that just didn't work, and they've had their first losing season possibly since 1990 or something, some crazy thing. So this division really came down to nobody thought about the Reds. Nobody really thought about the Cubs. It was kind of St. Louis and Milwaukee for most people. And then now, middle of the season, it was wide open. You've got, I wouldn't call this, it's one of the streakiest years in baseball that I can remember.
Okay.
Like teams going on streaks.
Yeah.
I was bored. I had hip replacement, so I went through every team and said who was the streakiest teams and what kind of streaks did they have. Cincinnati falls in that category. They had a 10 or 11 game winning streak. They've had a losing streak. They've had a lot of up and down, and that's that balanced schedule. Well, Milwaukee has fallen into that streakiness. Of course, now they're on the uptick of their streaks.
Right.
And I think the way that you climb the ladder in the division, which we've seen in those 2 divisions that have been up for grabs, get on a 7-game winning streak, you go from boom to there.
You know what I think about all these rosters? Think about all the young players that Pittsburgh has. Think about all the young players that Cincinnati has. Half of this Milwaukee lineup is made up of rookies on any given day. The Cubs are a little older now, but they've played a lot of younger players. There's Contreras taking ball 1. So I don't want to assume that it's causation and correlation, but it feels like when you have that much youth, you're going to see a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of highs, a lot of lows.
No doubt. And, you know, before the trade deadline.
Bouncing ball to third for Bohm. Throws to second a little bit late, but they do get the out to retire the side. So it will be Devin Williams with that airbender changeup coming on to face Bohm, Real Muto, and Marsh. To the 9th we go. The Brewers looking to seal up the series. College students, bring your favorite team back to school with you with MLB.tv. You can get a free subscription with authentication through ID.me. Blackout and other restrictions apply. You can visit MLB.tv for more details. So back-to-back nights, Devin Williams will pitch. He's done that 11 times now this season in his now 54 outings. Only 4 blown saves, including last night, but did get his 8th relief win. He'll deal with Alec Bohm to start off this 9th inning. Williams got a 4-out outing last night. It's not something that he typically is asked to do. Tonight, just trying to get 3 outs to lock up the save. He had 20 pitches last night. Bohm fouls it away. It's 1-1.
Well, his changeup is so good, he can throw it a lot and not really worry about throwing it too much. Although you would think when you have a trick pitch like that, the less the hitter sees it, the better it is for you and trusting your fastball to get ahead. But he throws that changeup a lot.
More than half the time. There is the fastball. 56% of the time it's a changeup. Obviously, why not? And it's as good as his is. One of the best pure pitches of any pitcher in the game. Bohm pokes it out to right field for Taylor. 1 down.
There's not really a screwball anymore. Fernando Valenzuela made it possible or to talk about the way that he would turn over his kind of a screwball action changeup, and Williams actually, with a different angle that he throws it, creates that kind of screwball opposite spin that fades away and drops down.
Real Muto's hit the ball hard a couple times tonight. He hits this one hard to right, and it drops down in front of Taylor. A base hit for Real Muto. He's aboard with one away in the 9th inning.
I almost think there's times you can guess as a hitter with the score. With the score being up 3, you may see more fastballs, but when the runner or the tying run gets to the plate, you're not going to see those fastballs anymore.
Yep. So here is Marsh. Tying run is on deck for Philadelphia. Marsh, a patient hitter for this Philadelphia lineup. He's walked already tonight. He had a 4-walk game earlier this week against the Angels and came 1 pitch shy in a 12-pitch plate appearance of nearly being the first player in baseball this year with a 5-walk game. Williams misses with a fastball, and Marsh is ahead 2-0. Three and 0. Tells you how much Craig Counsell values this game, bringing Williams back on a second consecutive night with a 3-run lead after he pitched 4 outs last night. Marsh takes all the way a strike. Three-1. Way inside. That'll be a walk for Marsh, and on to second base goes Real Muto, and the tying run will come to the plate in Jake Cave.
See, I know he's got a great changeup and all that, but when you're down 3-1 to the batter and you've got to make him hit his way on. He tried to go for a swing and miss pitch on a 3-1 changeup that became a non-competitive pitch, and now Hook is going to go out there and remind him of just the essence of who's at the plate, what to do, and get back into your mechanics, because his fastball, he's been missing arm side, and his changeup, of course, he hasn't been able to really be super impactful because he's been behind an account.
Brewers this season are 63-4 when leading after 8 innings. Williams is obviously the biggest part of that. The Phillies have been exceptional at not giving up in games. Obviously, when you have some of the power that they have, they've hit a lot more home runs lately with runners on base, so that's helped some of their comeback charges. But each of the last 2 losses for Philadelphia against Los Angeles and then last night against Milwaukee, they took the lead in the 8th on home runs by Harper and Turner, but could not hold on. They've got the tying run coming to the plate in Cave. They've got Schwarber on deck.
Now, I would be careful with Cave on just his bat speed tonight and leaving a changeup that he can do damage on.
0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts tonight, Cave. There's the changeup, rolls it over to first base. It's grabbed by Santana, steps on the bag for out number 2. Both runners advance, 2 in scoring position, and here comes Kyle Schwarber. The types of matchups you come to the ballpark and hope to see when the game is on the line. One of the great closers in the game and one of the electric bats in all of baseball.
And you wonder if Schwarber is going to try to sit on a changeup. I mean, most hitters don't do that. They don't ever come off the fastball in case they get it.
Missed with a fastball to start. 1-0. Drops it in for a strike. to the screen on a fastball. 1-2. Phillies down to their final strike. Tying run at the plate, 9th inning. A 1-2 delivery from Williams to Schwarber. Just missed on the changeup.
That was a great pitch and a good take by Schwarber. That pitch, you got to tell yourself, if it doesn't start down the middle of the plate.
Two and two. Schwarber takes ball 3.
Well, now you go to the best pitch you think you're going to throw with a 3-2 count and a guy who hit a home run off you last night. You know that as a reliever, but right now he's not focused on that. He's focused on, how do I make a pitch to get this guy out?
Payoff delivery. Schwarber hits it hard towards second, off the glove of Turang. 1 run will score. Real Muto's across, and it's 7-5. And the go-ahead run will come to the plate for Philadelphia in Trey Turner, who hit a 3-run home run off Williams last night.
Well, last night, this was a big moment. He took a changeup and hooked it down the line. For just a slight moment in the game, it looked like Philadelphia was going to have a comeback victory, but it didn't last. And tonight, they can revenge themselves. That was an unbelievable play by Turang. He almost made the play of the night at second base.
Pinch runner in at first. That is a speedster at first base in Johan Rojas. He can fly. He's the tying run. Williams to Turner, a rematch of 24 hours ago. And the first pitch is foul.
Oh, he threw him the same pitch.
Philadelphia's hottest hitter against one of the best closers in the game. 0-1. Turner weaves and misses. 0-2. Turner takes a ball low and away. Rojas will take second base. We'll see if they give him a steal or defensive indifference. It will be a steal. Now the tying run is in scoring position for Turner. A base hit to the gap could tie this game. Williams to Turner. Checks his swing. Appeal down to first. No swing, says Corey Blazer. It's 2-2. The pitch. Turner just got a piece on that changeup.
You tell yourself as a hitter to stay back, but you don't want to get beat on the fastball. Already talked about that. And this changeup doesn't get there sometimes. You see that rotation and how he just barely gets the top of the ball. I think if you're going to hit a changeup, you got to think center field or right field if you're a right-handed hitter to stay on that pitch.
2 on, 2 out. 9th inning. A 2-2 pitch. Down and away, and the count runs full on Turner. Fabulous drama in Milwaukee in what feels like a playoff game. 3-2. Turner swings and misses. Williams strikes him out to win the game. He leaves the tying runs on base in the 9th by striking out one of the hottest hitters in baseball, and the Brewers have won an 11th game in their last 13. A 7-5 win tonight to take the series.
Well, he slowed him down with a bunch of changeups and went to the gas. And you could see how late Turner was trying to stay on that pitch, but too much fastball, and you see them Thank you very much for 2 exciting home wins against the Philadelphia Phillies.
The Brewers have won 8 straight home games. They extend their lead at the top of the National League Central to 4.5 games on the Cubs as they take the first 2 from the Phillies. We'll wrap things up from Milwaukee on the other side.